All right, we are back. Let us continue. So before we are timed out, we briefly discussed the upside down approach to leadership. And I showed you the diagram, how it looks like, whereby the leader is there to serve, make sure that the employees feel good about their work, about the company. He trained the employees right. He or she, because these days, when I say leader, I'm referring to both the male leader and the female leader, because we have female executives, we have female governors, even presidents, prime ministers. The same way we have male leaders. So leader treat the employees right, make them feel good about the work, support them in any way that is possible and reasonable. And in return, the employees, as the managers and supervisors, treat the frontline workers right, the frontline workers have a direct contact with the customers. And then in response to being treated good, they also treat the customers with more respect and made them feel like kings. So this makes the customers to view the company as a good company, a nice company, a company that they would like to do business with. And then they will open their wallets. In the long run, the company gains. Now, this same thing applies to leaders in government-owned agencies. And when they do behave in this manner, we say that they are fulfilling the public trust. Yeah. So organizations that are government-owned organizations or government departments that have leadership that adopted this upside down pyramid approach. And even non-profit that does that, we say that they are fulfilling the public trust. If it's a private sector, they will thrive and grow. Public sector, they are fulfilling the public trust. Now let's look at some case studies. I think I mentioned this already. The Marriott. The founding philosophy of Marriott International is based upon the upside down pyramid approach to leadership. So trace to the word of J.W. Marriott, who is the founder. He says, take care of the associates. The associate will take care of the guests, and the guests will come back again and again. See? It works that way. In my tribe, we say that the dogs say that, dog, the animal that we call dog, pet, we say the pet, people have it a dog as pet. Say that the rule of game is, or playing, dogs like to play. So the rule of play is you fall for me, I fall for you. So that is what is basically being applied here. So when senior leaders serve managers and supervisors, the managers and supervisors now serve the frontline employees, treat them right. Then the frontline employees, we focus on the employees. We focus their attention on serving the customers right. Now, happy customer means more business. So that is what is this? Why the upside down pyramid approach is good. Now, in the government department, the same thing. If you go to that department that treat their employees well, then they fight. I mean, they have the employee return back that goodwill by being having a positive attitude to work. Lateness will be significantly reduced. And also the cases of employees jumping ship, resigning to join another company or another agency will be significantly reduced. If you think of the U.S. Army, U.S. Army is the strongest army in the world. Why? Because of the way they are treated by the Defense Department, the kind of treatment they receive can really motivate them to fight. It made them feel that they are part of America. Now, when I finished my graduate school and did my doctorate, I finished, graduated with good grades, excellent grades. But then I have almost, by the time I graduated, I have almost $200,000 in student loan. When I graduated, student loan that I have to pay back. Now, any US soldier, they go to college, they don't pay anything. Their children go to college, they don't pay anything. Their wife, their spouse, see, that is a big motivation right there. And they encourage them to go to college to get more degrees. That's number one. Number two, there are so many benefits they receive as veterans. Their income, they pay them well. In fact, they take care of them. They take good care of them. I know that there are some cases whereby some soldiers, feel that they're not doing enough. But compare it to what you have in other countries, you see that they are really almost like what's the best way to say it? They are treated like the kings, believe me. And also look at this. Each time you are filling an application, a job application for a corporate organization, there will be a time there will be a section where they will ask you, are you a member of the military? They give privilege to member of the military for that job. Any job application that is being for a corporate organization, as a feeder application, when there will always be a section where they ask you about, are you a member of the military? So that they can give you, that will give you a kind of more, I would say, more chances than the regular person applying for that job. Then, how about on Veterans Days, for example? Soldiers can go to different restaurants and eat free of charge. So there's so many benefits they get. The mortgage, when they want to buy a house. So this can motivate them. In fact, that's why people, even during in the 2004, 2005, when the Iraq war was at the peak, when many people are dying in Iraq, and many soldiers died in Iraq, and they're bringing their corpses back to US daily. Still, people want to enter the military because of the benefits a lot. But then it makes them to fight, and we are the best soldiers in the world. So anyway, I think you get the point. Let's look at the another case here. Another case. Look at another case. We have another case study for the upside down pyramid. Look at the hotel. There's a hotel we call the Four Seasons Hotel and Resort. The Four Seasons Hotel and Resort is an upside down pyramid organization, and then because of that, it is number one of only 12 companies now to be ranked in hundreds best companies to work for every year since Fortune magazine started its annual ranking of companies. Now look at the philosophy behind this approach in the company. According to the founder, Isadore Sharp, he says, how you treat your employees is how they will treat the customers. Our culture always been based on the golden rule, the simple idea of treating others as you have them treat you. So when you look at this, this is the principle that guides their operations, the way they treat their customers, forces. And because of that, they are always included in Fortune magazine's 100 best company to work for. That means that this inclusion in Fortune magazine's 100 best companies to work for is based on survey they did. They surveyed different employees in different companies. They send questionnaires, phone calls. Sometimes they survey up to 40,000 employees, asking them about their company, how they feel. So from there, they can now choose the first 100 companies based on employees' response to work for. And those companies are doing very, very well. Now, for the 2009 10 companies, the Fortune magazine chose this company: Hilton, Salesforce, Wegmans, Food Markets, Workday, Kempton Hotel and Restaurants, Cisco, Edward Jones, Ultimate Software, Texas Health Resources, and Boston Consulting Group. Now, if they have asked up to, let us see. Let us check what Fortune magazine have for last year. Because this year, I'm not sure the result for this year have come out yet. Let's look at Fortune magazine's 100 best company to work for. Okay. Let's look at, search for it in the internet, see what the results will bring up. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I think we have this one. Hope it's for 2020. Watching. Okay, good. Open it. I hope you can see it. You can see my screen, can you?
Yes.
Okay, you can see the top 10. See, these are the top 10 right here. This is for 2022. Cisco Systems, Hilton Holdings, Hilton Hotels, Wegman Food Markets. This is for last year. Salesforce, NVIDIA, Accenture, Rocket Companies, American Express, David Weekly Homes, Capital One Financial. So this is just the first top 10. Let me see. So remember, this Fortune magazine have been publishing this for 25 years. So let's see. Let me explore the list, all the lists. See, wait all the way to 100. This has 10. This is the first 10 we just mentioned, and then next 10 rules. Let's see. Okay, that will start from 11th. So you have Intuit, Targets, Oric, Veteran United Home Loans. For them, I don't even know their names. For yeah, but I know Comcast, Alston and Bird. Okay. All right, Hewlett Packard. Working. Okay. Let's go to up to the hundreds. Okay. I think I went. Okay, this is third. Nationwide Insurance. Kimley Horn Associates. The Marriott again. Deloitte. I know Deloitte is the accounting firm. Synchrony Financial. And so all the way to I say Bank of America, Pinnacle Financial. Okay. Now, next, we have HubSpot, Adobe, Red Hat, Cheese. I was expecting to see Coca-Cola here, but see Texas Health Resources. Okay, let's see. Maybe two more. We can go back to our presentation. KPMG is an accounting firm. Okay, auditing firm. West Monroe Partners. Okay, good. There's a lot of. There's been so many of them. Okay, First American Financial. Okay, last. Okay, since we got up to 60, let us just go to see all the 100. See companies who are involved. Progressive Bank. Okay, okay. EY. Okay. Outer State. Okay. Benz. Okay, Benz is a private equity firm, I believe. Cheesecake Factory. Really? Okay. Horizon Therapeutics, the 60th. Then we have Bear Bank. Never heard of this bank before. PricewaterhouseCoopers. Okay, I think this is an accounting firm. JAMF. Never heard of it. So some companies I haven't heard of are here. Even Blue Cross, but I know of Blue Shield of California. Okay. Hyatt Hotel is number 70. Interesting. Then we have Worldwide Technology, AbbVie, Citrix Systems. This time around, we didn't see the that hotel's name. Navy Federal Credit Union, okay. Baptist Health, okay. Experian. Okay, two more and then we'll be reach the 10, the hundreds. Panda Restaurant Group, Mutual of Omaha, okay. Last one will be this one. We will have Atlantic Health Systems, Public Supermarket, okay. DHL, really? Okay. T-Mobile, CarMax, and FedEx. FedEx was in the last group, okay? Now, this does not mean that the other companies are not good. Far from that. It's just that these are the best place to work for. Not that the other companies that they are not mentioned here are not good. They are still good companies. So that we have that. So we can now look at the servant leadership, Quint Struder's way. Now, this guy, Quint Struder, is an author that writes about leadership. So he writes articles and books about leadership. Now, according to him, there are 4 questions that servant leaders ask. Servant leaders, when I say servant leaders, I'm still referring to leaders that adopt the upside-down pyramid approach to leadership. See, upside-down pyramid approach to leadership. You can also call them servant leaders. They often ask themselves or try to provide answers to this kind of questions that I have here. The question says, what is going right? What can be improved? Do you have what you need? How can I help you achieve your goal? So these are the very common questions that they ask subconsciously first. Sometimes they ask it, ask you, the employee, what do you think we can provide to make you to work better? If you watch, there's this program that I see on TV sometimes. They call it Undercover Boss. How many of you watch that program? Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, watched the program Undercover Boss. Have you?
Boys or what?
Boss.
Oh, Boss. Yes.
Yeah. See, you see that in that program, you see the boss of the company. He will disguise himself and come to a branch of that company. Usually they have it in restaurants. Let's say Burger King of one. They can come to a branch. They pretend like they apply for a job there. You know, it can be a restaurant. It can be any company at all. I watch it on the TV almost every weekend. So they come and apply for a job as workers. So, and they'll be working in the field with the workers in that restaurant or company. Their worker will not even know that this is their boss. So by doing that, they get a feel, the true feel of how the employees do their job in that company. They can put themselves in their shoes to ascertain the way they feel about the job, and then being in the field, in the trench with them, they now get first-hand knowledge of what the workers need to have in order to make them to work better, put their best for the company. That is another good example of servant leadership. And by doing that, they are practically asking these questions. What is going right? What can be improved? Do you have what you need? Can I help you achieve your goals? I encourage you to watch those programs, because they will, especially when you are writing the paper, some questions that some ideas that you might want to apply might be, to use in your paper might be a kind of applied question that you want to use the experience to answer. And you can gain experience by being there physically or by watching programs that reflect the area that you need the experience. So let's look at the case of Google's Oxygen. We call it Project Oxygen. So now, Project Oxygen was launched for two main purposes. Okay. One is to identify the most effective behavior of managers. Actually, yes, there are two main purposes, but I would say the paramount one is to identify the most effective behavior of managers inside the organization. Now, there are three most important behaviors that reflect the spirit and practice of servant leadership. Being available by meeting regularly with employees, communicating by asking questions instead of always providing answers, then showing support by taking interest in employees personally. Now, the second goal was intended as a business strategy. It was launched as a business strategy that is aimed at training future business leadership to institute best performance practices and drive continuous improvement among the Google's management team. So these two goals were the main thing where it is launched. And then, what are the achievements of Google Project Oxygen? Well, you can see the result can speak for themselves. You see, Google have continued to be one of the fastest growing company in the world. I'm even surprised that the Fortune 100 best companies to work for, that they didn't mention Alphabet. You know, Google now is the name. Google now is a company. Well, it started as Google, so a search engine, but now it has become a very big company. It has a new name called the Alphabet company. So I'm surprised that the Fortune 500, the Fortune magazine, I mean to say, Fortune magazine did not mention Alphabet company as one of the best places to work. That would tell you that this survey was done is not a biased survey, it's based on what the employee says. Maybe it's a good company, maybe it's the fastest growing company in the world, but maybe it is not, it may not be the among the best 100 companies to work for. It is a good company to work for, but it may not be one of the best 100 to work for. But Google is everywhere. They have phone, they have a Google, I think they own the Android. They own so many things that we use today. So in some colleges, their email, Gmail, and what's they power what's the best? There's this keyword that those in the IT sector use about engine that powers their email, their website, and so on and so forth. So anyway, in any case, Google is, like I said, is a lucrative company, and it's one of the fastest growing company in the world. At this point, we're going to look at access, communication, and support when it comes to as they relate to leadership. The first one we're looking at is access. Why are we looking at these three things? Because a servant leader who is committed to people have to show this that he is, or he or she is accessible, can communicate, and also can provide support to his or her subordinates. So the servant leader is committed to people, and this commitment is shown through access, communication, and support. Look at access. Access is a simplest way of explaining what it means is that it involves being available. Okay. So employees want to have easy access to their leaders. They need to be able to read their faces, to see recognition of their own existence reflected in the eyes of their leaders. So there's the concept that we called management by objective. So this MBO and other techniques of management do not change the fundamental human needs, because people need to contact and support. They need contact and support. And the effective leaders at all levels of responsibility know this. And they also know that it is one of their primary tasks to make sure that their subordinates have easy access to them, to make them feel that they are there for them. Given the age of computers and IT in general, email and social media, so all these things exist, yes, but they cannot substitute for that need for access. Okay, their existence does not change the importance of human moments at work. Doesn't at all. So even as a student, because there are different categories of leadership. For example, the professor who teaches the class is the leader in that class. So students, even as you as a student, you like to have easy access to your professor. You want him or her to respond to your emails, So it's a natural phenomenon. People need access to those their bosses. Okay. So in a situation where that access is not available, it might be a source of discouragement. It might lead to low morale. Okay. Next is communication. Okay. Communication. So the effective leader knows the value of communication. So and this has been a, communication is the oxygen of the society. People want to communicate with each other. So as long ago as 59 BC, there's a one emperor in Rome. I will call Julius Caesar. So Julius Caesar kept people up to date with handwritten sheets of paper and posters that are distributed around Rome. So the suggestion is that leaders meet with their people on a regular basis. And through these meetings, they can provide opportunities, good opportunities for their employees or subordinates to share information, lay out the work, anticipate problems, and gather momentum. So through these regular meetings also, leaders can reinforce a sense of cooperative helpfulness and mutual support. Now, even at your work, sometimes they send emails about meetings. There's some places that have regular weekly meetings. Some workplaces, some may have monthly meetings. But the fact that they are important because they enhances communication within the company or the agency. The third one is support. So the successful leaders know that praise without support is empty gesture. So what they do is they like to give feedback to employees, even if it's a negative feedback, but it depends on how it is communicated. Okay, they might say, okay, you did good on this section, but you need to improve on this area. So employees naturally want to know, how do you know if you are, they don't want to know if they are doing good. They want to be able to answer that question. How do I know that how do I know that I'm doing good? And they can get that through the feedbacks they receive from their leader. Now we can turn our attention to authentic leadership. Before I do that, does anybody have a question for me? Any question for me?
No.
Okay. So let's look at military leadership. Okay. Now, I think I mentioned this before, that United States have the best military leaders, well, the best military in general, in the world, most strongest military in the world, because of the kind of leadership they have. The American military leaders are, they are caring and, I'll call them caring and servant leaders. That's the best way to describe them. So because their focus is on the well-being and development of their soldiers, their sailors, their airmen, Marines, and Coast Guards. So they were taught, to put the needs of their soldiers before their own, and to lead by principle of mission first, soldiers always. So what is the result? US have the youngest, among the youngest and strongest military in the world. This is an example of servant leadership in action. Now, this leads us to participative leadership philosophy. So according to this philosophy, employees are given the chance to should be given the chance to express their creativity by coming up with suggestions to tackle a situation. So this is a very sharp contrast to autocratic leadership. But the benefit is this: it produces good outcomes. If you look at Steve Jobs, the late Steve Jobs, who built Apple Incorporated to be one of the best IT companies in the world. Now, let's look at the case of Steve Jobs. and what he did in the light of the participative leadership philosophy. Now, as we all know, Apple was a successful company from 1976 to 1985 before it almost failed. Then it became, a strong company again. Precisely, even though it fought, but it bounced back. So it had a vision. The way we say it, has a vision. Apple has a vision. Apple lost its vision. Then Apple became in the vision. Anyway, let me summarize it this way. In the 1990s, mid-1990s, Gateway, Microsoft, some microsystem and other companies see Apple as an acquisition target. They want to buy Apple because Apple was falling. So now today, most of those companies have disappeared. Apple still exists. Now Apple survived. Why? Because of Steve Jobs. He became a democratic slash participative leader. Okay. When he joined Apple, he was really more of autocratic. Then he was fired. So because they forced him to resign, not basically fired, but they forced him to resign. He resigned, left the company. Eventually, he came back and changed his ways. So when he returned to Apple 10 years later, he combined two leadership styles. Many styles, not even only two, but all of those styles he was using were based on the key tenets of democratic leadership. What happened? Apple survived, and Apple became a very strong company, very wealthy company, as a matter of fact. People are crazy about Apple products. So we have less than 3 minutes now. We cannot achieve much. So I will time us out, and I will see you back here next week. Remember to read the chapter for the week. Continue reading. Read the presentation to the end. Do your quiz, your test, and your homework. And I will see you guys here next week. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
All right. See you next week.
Sure. You're welcome. You have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.